Hey, and welcome to another installment of Catching Up with Chris, Jake, and Sam. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
I'm Jake.
And so it's been a really big, weird week for, I think, all of us, or at least eventful.
Yeah. I mean, right after we recorded the last episode, wake up the next morning, and I'm all excited to wish you guys both happy birthday.
It was both of our respective birthdays.
Yeah.
For you listeners who don't know, out there, me and Jake are born on the exact same day, down to the same year, separated only by about 4 hours.
4 hours.
Yeah. Jake being the older, the wiser.
Yes.
Older, not maybe not wiser.
We'll leave it open
Yeah.
to debate.
But then about halfway through the day, or at least halfway through the day for me, because I wake up really late, start seeing reports online about the unfortunate, occurrence with Robin Williams.
Which, such a downer. For someone, I saw, statistically, a lot of the people that we know don't know Robin Williams, but I think we feel like they felt like they did, and he was such a constant, warm presence in our childhoods.
Absolutely.
Being in my first personal favorite Disney film, Aladdin, Jumanji, which wasn't really a good film in retrospect. Am I the only one who thinks that Jumanji was?
Last time I saw it, I was
Jumanji. I love Jumanji.
Well, here's the thing. Even the Robin Williams films that I don't particularly enjoy overall, I always enjoyed him in them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the last time I saw Jumanji, I was of the age where they made the movie for that age group. You know what I mean? So I haven't revisited that film since then.
It's on Netflix.
Is it?
I have the VHS of it somewhere around here too.
I have one of the first VHS films I got was Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. As soon as I heard the news, I was just so bummed out. I'm not normally affected by celebrity deaths or anything, but like I said, there's something about having him such a constant warm presence in our childhood that one really hit home, and it was unexpected. And without saying too much, the clinical depression does run in my family, though somehow I'm not diagnosed with it. But I know family and friends that are on antidepressants, and all I can say is if you ever feel like you need to talk, don't be afraid. One of the things that pisses me off so much is that I feel like as a culture we really stigmatize mental health issues in this country, and that's really not something that's fucked for me. I think it sucks that somebody has that such a warm soul kind of unexpectedly commit suicide, but I do hope that it kind of serves as like a kind of a call to people out there that if you need help, definitely go and consult a physician or consult a therapist or just talk things out, because that always helps.
Yeah, I mean, I know personally, like I've had issues with it, and like one of the big scary things is like really admitting to people that you don't really have a whole lot of control over your emotions and stuff like that. Like I've talked with you, Sam, definitely about like some random occurrences where I just was like, okay, I am sad now, I'm angry now, like that, like over nothing too.
Yeah.
And like one of the hardest parts is like being able to admit it to someone else, and like I don't have a lot of money myself, so I can't afford to like see a therapist, get on some kind of prescription drugs and stuff like that. So really all I have is the people that I talk with, the people that I, trust and, hold close to me.
Yeah, and you'll always have a sympathetic ear here because, like I said, I know lots of people that have benefited from it. So this is, by the way, is going to be like the most, wow, this is how we're starting out.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we wanted to get it out of the way. I mean, just for one, chronologically, like it happened Monday.
It did, yeah.
That was kind of the first thing that happened since the last time we talked together. And then it's the big thing. We wanted to do that and then get on with the normal, ridiculousness of
it certainly was the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of what are your guys' first exposure to Robin Williams. I know that was one of the first thoughts that went through my head when I found out about the news. And one thing, social media can be an interesting thing. It has its good, its ups and its downs. One thing that I've never ever seen with any celebrity or just public eye like kind of death is flipping through Facebook or Twitter. And it's not an exaggeration when I say this, but every single thing was Robin Williams related. Normally, you get little sporadic things here and there about certain things or certain actors, actresses, people in the public spotlight have meant something to someone, so they have something to say. But for Robin Williams, it was everything, and it made me think of what was my first exposure to him. Well, a lot of things go through your mind, but the first thing was
Mork from Mork.
Mork and Mindy was the first thing.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid on Nick at Night, I thought he was the funniest. It was the funniest. And it was so. And even back then, it was so weird. It was so much different than any other sitcom.
Oh yeah,
It was just insane, and it was wonderful. And that's what I love most to this day and forever about Robin Williams is just how he was always on the go. There was always movement. There was always, he was trying to make people laugh. It didn't matter if you were famous. Didn't matter where you were, age group, or anything. He always had something. He never any kind of just silence with him. He just always had something to say and something to do, and always it was the number one thing was putting a smile on someone's face.
Yeah. I mean, that was really my Pee-wee's Playhouse because, I didn't really watch too much Pee-wee's Playhouse when I was a kid, and then after a certain chronological event, I wasn't allowed to watch Pee-wee's Playhouse anymore, and I never was told why. But that was really my first exposure to that, and Mrs. Doubtfire and Hook and all that.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think it was Toys.
Wow, that's such a
random.
Yeah,
but
I remember that movie looked nice.
Yeah, it was so weird and very trippy. Looking back on it, it looks like a very colorful Tim Burton movie.
It looks like a watercolor come to life.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but yeah. So and Rapid Fire, I feel like he had a whole lot of stuff coming out, like Toys, Hook, the first Aladdin.
I
movie.
think Aladdin and Hook both came out in 91.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That was
I didn't
a great
do any
year.
research on this, so who knows? But yeah, and then Mork and Mindy was still on Nick at Night.
Yep.
And so my mom was like, "Oh, you really like Robin Williams? So let's check out this show." And I was like, "This is so strange."
Yeah.
I remember watching Popeye when I was a kid, and not knowing what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
Probably
my favorite rendition of Popeye, though.
Yeah. And then also, the thing that I was thinking about was, as everyone does, was what was your favorite Robin Williams movie, performance, whatever. And for me, it wasn't just a Robin Williams thing, but I mean, especially meant more after this, unfortunately, it was, Good Will Hunting. And for me, that was a movie that is for you. I mean, since it was released on home video, that was always just a comfort movie for me. And when I say comfort movie, I don't know if some people know what I'm talking about. That's a movie I could throw on at any time, and I'm gonna finish that movie with a smile on my face, probably a fresh tear in my eye too, because there's so many great things that happen in that movie. And his performance, it's funny because I'm talking about how much I love how zany and wild and over the top he is, and it's a fairly restrained performance.
Got him the Academy Award,
but there's always that little spark or twinkle of Robin Williams in every single performance that you can see.
Yeah, Dead Poets Society, The Fisher King. Totally.
Yeah, I think everyone watched Dead Poets Society in school, and it's one of those things where even when you did, that was you watch movies in school sometimes you're like, oh Jesus, but
we watched The Birdcage in school.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Man. But yeah, everyone, everybody, knows Dead Poets Society, which is amazing. I mean, you could talk to anybody because it's such a powerful, strong thing. I mean, the Dream Theater song on Change of Seasons was a song about life and death, and Mike Portnoy's father had just passed away, and that thread throughout the entire 23 minute song is they keep referencing Carpe Diem, Seize the Day, all the kind of different things, and clips, audio clips from Dead Poets Society. So, but yeah, for me, I mean, Good Will Hunting, of course, Hook. I mean, Hook is something that anybody's with an imagination, anyone who, had that sense of wonder as a kid is going to tap into because, he forgets it and it brings it back. And, hopefully that's something that if you ever do lose that sense of awe and wonder, something like a Hook or a movie that he was in, any movie he was in, hopefully would do that and brings, bring back that kind of innocence to it.
It's actually exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, really?
And I was going to be like, oh, yeah, the Hook's my favorite because,
Okay.
Pretty much exactly what it is.
Well, sweet.
So Hook then.
Yeah.
For me, it's probably Aladdin, just because that was the best, for me, the best canvas of his kind of really energetic performances, like when he does Jack Nicholson impression, they animate him to look just Jack Nicholson and stuff. And it was just like, oh wow, this is just so cool. And yeah, I mean, that was that's my favorite Disney like classic animated film. That's definitely at the top. Though I have to say, in terms of his more subdued performances, I recently, and you can watch this on Netflix, the 3rd season of Louis, he shows up for a funeral for a stand-up comic that him and Louis C.K. knew, and it's one of the more vulnerable, but he's vulnerable without being too, like, he's open and he's reserved, but without being timid, or if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
That's a great performance. The World's Greatest Dad is another.
That's a good one.
Though it's so hard to watch now.
Yeah.
It is so hard to watch now. I mean, his character has a line in that film like, suicide is a permanent solution to temporary problems, and that line is so hard to digest hearing him say that.
Yeah.
After this week. But so Hook's still your favorite, Chris?
Yeah. It is a happy movie, and I like happy movies.
I had a huge crush on Julia Roberts in that movie.
Really?
Really? Like, it was insane.
I don't know what it was, but
I
about
can't.
the Tinkerbell.
I don't know either.
Yeah, but I get you.
I get totally in love with her.
Even as a kid, she took me right out of that movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
Also,
did you know that Aladdin, the face of Aladdin was based on Tom Cruise?
Yeah, you've mentioned that like every time Aladdin comes in the conversation.
I gotta get it on permanent record here.
I haven't heard that, so thank you, Jake.
You're welcome.
Does that mean?
See it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So definitely, a lot of fond memories. Thank you for the happy childhood memories, Mr. Williams, and you will be missed. Condolences to your family.
Yeah. No.
But in terms of, to touch back on what Chris alluded to earlier, it was also our birthday week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what a shit show that was. So we didn't really do anything that Monday because it's a fucking Monday. But that Friday, man, I reserved the basement of one of our local favorite bars here in Fairfax.
Our Cheers.
Basically.
Yeah.
And
does that make me Norm?
No, well, I mean, you'd have to walk in there and people would scream Chris.
That's true. Only like one person does that.
Then no.
Yeah.
Not Norm.
Then never mind.
Would you want to be Norm?
No. I was kind of saying that in a sad tone. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
So you reserved?
We reserved the basement of the Old Shebeen. I hired a DJ friend of ours to do karaoke. Brought in some instruments to use as props.
Yeah, I didn't see any of that, so please elaborate on that.
Yeah,
I was working.
Mr. I got a job.
Mm-hmm.
I got a job too, just one now.
It
was. You missed the denim chicken as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sam was doing karaoke for his birthday, but like expert level karaoke, because he had, like he said, he brought in guitars.
Mm-hmm.
One of his friends brought in a bass guitar. Only brought in one strap though for all three of these instruments.
Yeah, we had to resort to using a belt for the bass.
Yeah, so you didn't have to just sing along to your favorite karaoke songs. You could also play along. They weren't plugged in or anything like that, so you were just kind of pantomiming. But I did, if I may jump in with something that I did that night, I did get to fulfill one of my fantasies.
Mm-hmm.
And that is to play Freebird on stage.
Mm-hmm.
The full version.
Yeah, all like 9.5 minutes of it. For some reason, it's in karaoke books. Like, they have it there. At the same token, they have an instrumental. I've seen people perform instrumental songs at karaoke.
Yeah, Fire on High by Electric Light Orchestra.
But that would be a fucking nightmare.
Right? So
I love that song, but Jesus.
So it's still like the first like half hour of your birthday. So like not a lot of people are into it yet. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And I get up there and I do what I think is a great rendition of the first 3 minutes where there's vocals and stuff like that. And then like I'm holding one of the guitars and I'm kind of just like...
My beloved Tom DeLonge Signature Series Fender Stratocaster.
Sure. It was a Strat, yes. But so then, like, the real meat of the song kicks in, and I just like start wailing around like like just going nuts.
And that's what the entire thing was designed for, to live out those rock. But the problem is, the grand majority of people that showed up for that private part,
they're not stage people.
They're not. They're very timid.
Yeah, that's the problem of having that kind of birthday.
Well, it was one of those Facebook events where like a bunch of people say they're coming, and either they don't come at all or they come during like much later when it was like the public part, and when I had already retired the instruments and the mic
like
stands.
Most Facebook events.
Of course. People weren't even in the same like state. Like when they were like, "Oh, I'm totally coming." It's like, you are aware I'm doing this for like proper head count for, like I even say that in the event.
Yeah. Our friend Luke was in Richmond for the barbecue.
Yep. But I mean, I still had fun. I just wish it wasn't. I wish it was more people were willing to get on stage and have a good time, so it didn't feel like the Sam Stone show.
Yeah.
But
we got on
much
stage,
like your
though.
Twitter handle.
Yeah. But
we got on stage.
So once it shifts to public karaoke, our friend Josh buys me. I'm taking rounds of Fireballs because they're only like $3 a pop. So people are like, "Sam, have a Fireball." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm drinking Fireballs, and Josh is like, "I got a shot for you," and I'm like, "Oh."
Oddly enough, that's exactly what he sounds like.
Yeah. I was just like, "Oh, all right." God, I hope this isn't roofied. And I drink it, and it
was.
It kind of felt like it because it was a fucking Four Horsemen. If you don't know what a Four Horsemen is,
it's the greatest
a
shot
horror
in the
horseman.
world. That's
how you're pronouncing him at the end of the night.
That's if you add the roofie.
Yeah. It was. It's Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, Jose Cuervo, and Jameson.
And it's the greatest thing
It
ever.
knocked me on my ass. I was holding my own. Like, despite the volume of alcohol, including my beloved birthday drink, the Ecto Cooler, which tastes just like a High C Ghostbusters Ecto Cooler, which is half Midori, half blue curacao poured over ice. And Chris, would you say it's delicious?
It is.
And accurate?
Yeah.
I love Sam said that with such a wanting in his eyes. Like, is it delicious? Tell me it is delicious.
I'm biased. I need outside opinion. But yeah.
Please tell the people how delicious it is.
Yeah, my tongue was green because of those drinks. But yeah. So after that, it was downhill.
Well, I showed up right when you took that shot.
Yeah,
and I had already, I was winding down, getting ready to leave as this was all happening.
Yeah, I mean, you had been there since like you were there
I was
before
there
I was.
Maybe you are, Norm,
because I get to events on time.
I'm late for my own party.
The event said 7. I was there at 6:55.
Yeah,
he got there at about 7:20.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, that sounds Sam.
Yeah. We should have gone in and edited like when it was starting until like 6:30, so Sam would have got there at 7.
Yeah,
I did make you 7. But okay, I'll leave the house now.
I'll wake up at 7.
Oh my god!
And then we send text to Sam. Sam, are you on your way? Or call him. Yeah. I'm totally on my way.
And then he gets in the shower.
Yeah,
there was
I was telling Jake earlier about when we went to Medieval Times for my birthday this year. I was coming.
That's
to pick
what
him
I
up.
walked in the tail end of.
Yeah, I had told him I was going to pick him up so we could carpool. That day, like I'm texting him. I texted him a couple times to remind him that I was, on my way.
And it wasn't like an early morning thing.
No, it was. I think this was like 2:30 that I was on my way to your place. And then I get in the proximity of your neighborhood, and I suddenly realize that I forget what street you live down. So I call you to get directions, and I wake you up with my call. You hadn't gotten any of my texts. I wake you up, and you're like, "Oh, what? Oh yeah, no, it's this street. Okay, cool. I'm almost there. Okay, cool. I'll jump in the shower right now." And I'm like, no, don't jump in the shower. We need to leave because we have to get to the door at a certain time in order to get seats.
Sam waking up from being asleep is a fucking event.
There was like a solid several month period whenever Jake would call to like go to the comic book shop or whatever, I would be napping or just straight up sleeping.
Well, it got to a point where like he at first would say no, like I wasn't sleeping, and at first I was like, okay, maybe not, but then it got to a point when I was like, you just wake up? And he's like, what? Yeah, no. And then like I was like, okay, obviously you did, but you're just not going to say it. And then it got to a point where I was like, yes, I did just wake, or I didn't even have to ask, I just knew.
Wake up, Sam.
Yeah.
Okay. Like that's how it would go. But yeah,
So you're getting a little frisky with whiskey.
Yeah, not but I did manage to knock it out of the park with a rousing rendition of Mr. Brightside by the Killers. That's always a crowd pleaser.
That was good. You did a good job on that one.
Yeah.
That's like that was like
Song.
fuck
That's
you. Like right when we got there, we're playing darts, and
I really do. I just don't like that song.
well, I really mean fuck you.
You're a big Killers fan.
Yeah.
You've met Brandon Flowers.
I've hung out with Brandon Flowers on his tour bus, and we talked about everything but the Killers. It was a very interesting conversation
about
for
Slurpees?
another time. No, I'm saving that for when we meet Grant Morrison. But yeah, that was pretty rocking, and it was. I mean, it wasn't a very I've never actually been to the Friday karaoke before at Old Shabine.
It's a completely different
It
crowd.
is very much
It
so.
used to be just Cougars.
Yeah.
They've thrown that out there.
It wasn't there. It wasn't that. It wasn't like that when on Friday.
They went extinct,
Yeah.
But yeah, even Jake, you took the stage like 3 times.
Yeah. Well, that's how you know I'm good and drunk.
Yeah.
Because the only other times I had been on stage was I was pretty drunk when I did the first time I ever sang at Old Shabine was Werewolves of London. I was good and sloppy for that one. And then the other times I didn't sign up for songs. They were like we were signed. Like TJ signed me up for fucking
Dear Prudence.
Dear Prudence.
My sister's favorite Beatles song.
And then I think we had done some like backup singing Beatles stuff. We had done
The
like,
night before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Sam like runs up to me and he goes, "Birthday, we're gonna do Hooked on a Feeling duet." And I'm going, and
That sounds just like
well, it's drunk Sam. But my immediate thought was, Hooked on a Feeling isn't a duet. And then, yeah, sure, why not? Like, you know. And he goes, all right, you got the Ooga Chakas. And so,
before, I think my sister got me a Four Horsemen, and then I gave it to you because I.
That was later in the night.
Okay, yeah.
That was we'll get there. And so we go up, and it's pre-recorded. You know, obviously the tracks pre-recorded minus like the lead vocal, so the Ooga Chaka's already in there. So I'm Ooga Chaking over pre-recorded Ooga Chakas, and so Ooga Chaka, Ooga, and like but before we even start, Sam's like, "You guys know Guardians of the Galaxy," and like,
I don't ask once, I ask like 3 times.
And there's like one guy, there's like the one clap who just goes, "Woo!"
Yeah, Ken was the one that was all
naturally.
about it.
Yeah, Guardians. And then I just go, this one's for Grant Morrison. It's like
who had nothing
has nothing to do with Guardians of the Galaxy. Has written one Marvel title, like one big Marvel title with the X-Men.
New X-Men, yeah.
It has nothing to do with Guardians of the Galaxy whatsoever.
No connection that we know of to Blue Swede.
Yeah,
certainly.
I don't know. Yeah,
he probably loves Blue Sweet.
Yeah, and so we knock the song out. We do a pretty good job on it. There's a smattering of applause.
Yeah. Well, it was drunken, so
yeah, and so we go playing darts and just hanging out and having a good time, and it's starting to get not busy. It wasn't really busy, but people are in there. People are singing songs left and right, and then I don't know.
I remember my sister slapped me twice.
Yeah, well,
but I literally asked for it.
Do you remember how you refer to what your sister slaps like?
I've seen the video since.
Okay, so I was videotaping this of Sam getting smacked in the face twice. The first slap,
I was like, go ahead, right here.
It looks like, a pretty decent slap. Like, he sells it. You can actually hear it, like, over the bar, everything. The bar noises. And I'm like, hey, Sam, say something hilarious. And he gets really close to the mic, and he's like, I'm about to get slapped like Bo Bridges. And so
I don't know any Bo Bridges roles where he gets slapped.
I didn't, I was like, okay, I guess Sam knows better than me about Bo Bridges. Like, if one person knows about Bo Bridges over, anyone else, it's Sam for some reason. And so then he's getting slapped again, and he gets slapped, and it's not really a big slap or whatever. It's kind of like a flimsy little slap.
Tap. Because I literally, if I remember correctly, and of course I was drunk at the time, so take it at face value. But I think I was like, right here, just go ahead, Ann, as hard as you can. Just go ahead.
She's like, I'm not left-handed, and then like they kind of like switch. I don't even know if it was a left-hand slap or whatever. Anyway, and I go, hey, Sam, say something stupid or something like that, and he looks really close to the mic and he stops, and you won't be able to see what I'm doing, but he kind of purses his lips. He goes, she hits like she smells like the Predator.
So I don't know if that means that she slaps hard. If
I don't
she
know.
Smells like a jungle-dwelling extraterrestrial. Yeah. If she's got a claw mouth. If she like self-destructs in a nuclear explosion.
So that was pretty weird. But We also recreated the photo selfie of Batman and Superman because I was we did not plan this, of course, but I was wearing.
I still haven't seen.
I haven't either. I saw it when we took the picture. I saw it, but I was wearing a Batman shirt and Sam was saying, "Oh yeah, Sam was wearing a Superman shirt."
Yep.
So when we finished Hooked on a Feeling, I was like, "Good job, Superman." He's like, "Good job, Batman." And so, and then I don't know, somewhere along the line, I did "Big Shot" by Billy Joel.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because the lyrics of that song is like how I felt the next morning. Pretty much.
I did a rendition in between or after Hooked on a Feeling. I did a rendition of Radioactive by Imagine Dragons because there's one person that always does Radioactive by Imagine Dragons. And I'm very careful about, I don't want to steal other people's jams, but she wasn't there, so I was like, cool, I'm going to sing fucking Radioactive by Imagine Dragons. And I found out pretty quickly that the radioactive radio is out of my vocal range. And so I would hand out the mic and have the crowd sing that line.
That's the go-to standard for like when the band's too old and they can't hit those high notes anymore. You just have the crowd do it.
Yeah, they did that when I saw Van Halen.
Yeah, the whole fucking show probably was like that.
Sammy Hagar's just like I can't.
Oh no, it was.
If it was David Lee Roth, then it was definitely
David Lee
have the crowd sing it.
It was all David Lee Roth.
Yeah. Did you ever see when he would do like Christmas songs on Letterman or something like that? Oh, he was doing like folky versions of Van Halen, and I wish I could convey to you the image I have in my head because he'd just be like, yeah, and it was just like but like there's no distortion to cover it up.
Yeah.
It's pretty hilarious.
But so every time I hit those two words, I would hold out the mic. But because I'm drunker than Elvis, who
died yesterday, like the anniversary of his death is yesterday.
Wow, poignant.
Yeah, wow.
I think it was yesterday.
Rude.
I didn't. Yeah, but anyway, so I would hold out the mic. And I would hold it out as like dandily as possible.
It wasn't really a hold. It was like if Sam's nipple could hold a microphone.
It was like
that was
when Kenneth Branagh is in like the second Harry Potter film, whenever he casts a spell and he kind of has that like dainty kind of like flick of the wrist. That's how I held out the mic.
Also, I told everyone I could like run into to flick Sam in the nipples really hard. So whenever Sam was like talking to someone, I would run up behind him and flick both of his nipples. He'd go, ooh. And so then I had like other people like, hey, John, like our buddy John was like, hey, flick him in the nipples, like and so we were running around flicking Sam, in a Superman t-shirt.
That's how Sam builds vendettas against people.
You're on the list.
That's one of the reasons why he doesn't like a certain someone at the bar right now.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's one of the reasons.
There's like multiple, but anyway, so then the last song we did was Hey Jude by the Beatles.
The only way to end karaoke.
Yeah, and
for some reason in my mind, the lyric, like the screen,
the teleprompter
thing, was going 500 miles an hour, and the song's not fast. But I was reading it like, and so everything was blurry, and I was probably just like such an asshole. I was probably just like in the microphone making nonsense noises
because it. Watching anything with motion when you're drunk, that drunk, is like the stupidest fucking thing on earth.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. So
I sat down on stage and stared at the floor because the floor, by my estimation, was the only thing not moving. I don't even know.
It's a sound assumption.
I don't even know if I sang "Hey Jude." I remember I was holding a microphone.
I remember, we were doing the whole na-na-nas in the end.
Yeah, I don't even know if I was doing that at the end. For all I know, it could have been 7 minutes
of silence
of me going na-na-na-na.
You know what it probably was? It was probably 7 minutes of like a good minute or two of me going, and then all of us just decided to go, na-na-na, and then me going, come on, everybody. Like nobody was joining in.
It's still the first chorus, man.
Yeah, na-na-na-na.
For all I knew, I do think that people were singing along.
People might have been singing along, but I remember looking up to like in vain to see what my cries of my pleas of like sing along, because like everyone knows the lyrics to this. Even if you don't, it's fucking not even a word. It's just na. And so I look up and the dance floor is empty and everyone's sitting, and I'm like, oh well, I hope I can't. I couldn't really see out there.
Yeah, and I just.
Do you think that people are going to dance to "Hey Jude"?
Well, you mean you sway back and forth, and
to be fair,
shoulder, arm in arm and stuff.
Who we referred to as Lex Luthor, the biggest creep at the bar, did swing dance to my rendition of Metallica's "Die Die My Darling."
I did see somebody happy dance to Blink-182's "Adam" song once, which is a song about teenage suicide. But yeah, apparently I screamed it was the best rendition of "Hey Jude" in the world.
Well, we had our taxi waiting for us the entire
Apparently
time.
we had a
taxi.
Yeah, I don't remember getting. My memory goes from sitting on stage staring at the floor to sitting in the back of a taxi staring at the back seat with the taxi driver being like, "Don't throw up, don't throw up." To
we did not, by the way,
not in that taxi anyway, and then sitting in the carport of my house staring outside at the leaves. That's I don't remember any of the transitions. I don't remember leaving the bar. I don't remember getting in the taxi, getting out of the taxi, or sitting down in my carport.
My two final thoughts on this.
That was for you, Grant Morrison.
Was vomiting, and then silence, and me. And I wasn't saying it to Sam. I was saying it to the man himself. He could hear me somewhere, and I went, "That one's for you, Grant Morrison." And then I remember laughing, and Sam laughing, and then I remember it could have been centuries later. I went, "Sam, you remember that time when Batman beat Darkseid?" And Sam went, "Yeah."
Yeah, man. I mean, I have to say, I think for anyone who doesn't know, I certainly don't get annihilated on a regular basis. It's really just the birthdays.
I will say, Sam, because last year and this year it was similar plans, very different outcome.
Yeah.
Being around you drunk when I'm as drunk is way more fun than being around you not that drunk and you being insanely drunk.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, I don't usually, drink responsibly, kids.
Yes.
I don't normally drink to get drunk, but something happens, somebody...
I'll save it I'll save it once a year because I
can't do
too
this
old
shit.
for this shit.
I can't do this shit more than once a year at this point.
Lethal Weapon. But
that was our birthday. You had to work the next day too.
Yeah, it was horrendous.
I just slept until my dad called at noon and wondered where my car was.
What? Huh? What?
But that was we did and the night before we saw the Expendables 3, which was
real quick, we have to give a shout out to David Carter for basically being out of the three of us, he was the grown up and orchestrating us getting out of there.
He called the cab.
Well, we were joking. It was like he was Jor-El and we were baby Kal-El because he was so concerned with getting us into that taxi, like the world was going to explode, and that was our only way off.
Thank God my sister paid my tab.
Yeah. I paid my tab somehow.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I do. I remember that moment of that, so...
Yeah, a lot of fun was had.
Songs were sung.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you were there, thank you for coming out. I just... Damn, I can't do that. I can't do that ever. Yeah.
No.
That might be the...
Maybe to be a 10-year thing. Cause
maybe. I don't think I can ever drink a 4... If somebody...
Never.
Next time Josh gives me a 4 Horseman or my sister gives me a... Because I pawned off the second one. I gave it to Jake. I was like, can't do this shit. Yeah. And I just gave it to... I knew, as soon as I...
That was when it was a Horror Horseman.
Yeah. Yeah. But next time, I mean, Chris, if you're such an aficionado of the beverage, they're all yours.
Yeah.
It's not that bad, guys.
Ah, God. It's just
it's all relative.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, my heritage, my blood alone dictates that I should love the Four Horsemen.
Though the Cuervo might throw you off.
Yeah, that's for taste.
Little variety in there.
But the super Germanic and Irish, blood that I have, dictates that it should be easy for me.
Yeah, I'm sure if we were drinking soju, I would be fine.
Right?
But nobody ever brings out the soju. Why doesn't anyone buy the soju?
Why don't you bring out the soju?
I don't think they take too kindly to the outside beverages. I'm kind of surprised they allowed the outside chicken. There's
pictures of the
That was the first
chicken.
thing. I walked downstairs to Old Shabine, and I see Sam and broken glass and liquid everywhere, and I'm going, oh, Jesus, he's already fucked. I remember thinking, because the party started at 7, and I didn't get off work till 9. I didn't get there till, close to 10. And I was talking to, our friends, we were going to go, and I was like, there's a good chance that Sam may already be home. Because, the way the last year went was such a fucking nightmare, disaster.
I was basically bought I remember the first drink I had my last birthday, I think, was a Jackson 5, which is the same thing as the Four Horsemen plus Jägermeister.
And so...
And I had multiple because people kept buying me mixed drinks.
Well, next time, say no. Because
next time, I'm just going to have to pawn them all off.
Yeah, it was horrible. So we got there, and so I was thinking, oh my God, like we're on the tail end. But Sam turns around, and he sees me, and he goes, I got a denim chicken! And I was like, all right, well, at least he's not like completely gone. Because surprisingly... Sam looking at me, surprisingly, that actually makes sense to me. Sam turning around going, I got a denim chicken, is way better. And he was on a way better pace than he was the year before. Because the year before would have been like, I got a... And then he would have headbutted somebody and then, screamed in someone's face like a madman. Like a fucking madman. Just like you were real quick, you were a psychopath. Like, this is the only thing I'll say from that time was Sam... takes a shot of something, and it was like slams his head. And when I say slam, I don't mean like for funny comedic effect. He actually slams his head on the table, like bam, like slams it.
This oak table, like
and
solid oak.
And he pops right back up and goes, okay, the song "Hey Bulldog," the laugh, the John Lennon laugh, where he kind of laughs like a skull. He goes, aha. That's exactly what he does while going his head like a snake. And he starts laughing with this like red lump on his head. And I remember going like, I had known him for a while, but I was like, this is the true Sam right now, and it's fucking terrifying.
It was Sam of Zur and Ah.
Yeah, it was Sam of Zur and Ah. It was terrifying.
The devil had a code word for me, and it triggered this backup personality. Again, drink responsibly.
Please.
Yeah. Apparently, I sound like Joe.
Don't drink and drive.
Yeah, don't drink. I didn't drink and drive.
No. We did not.
I did not. But
I drove, but I hadn't drank, and or I hadn't really. I had 2 beers, and it was many hours between when I had the last one and drove.
Yeah. Again, let me reiterate: I don't normally get drunk when I drink, but that birthday, when people just keep lining up drinks for me, and I don't want to appear discourteous, unless it's my sister buying me a Four Horsemen, in which case I just give it to Jay.
Yeah, fuck you, buddy.
But that was it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. I didn't throw up, so I'm cool. But but to kind of go back, we saw the Expendables 3 the night before. That's what kind of led into the birthday celebration.
Yep.
Which was I just recently today, in fact, rewatched that film with my dad, kind of as a father-son birthday thing, because I hadn't seen him since my birthday, and he was like a kid. Those movies are made for my dad, man. He was eating that shit up. Even when like Arnold Schwarzenegger says like "get to the chopper," like. I remember Chris like audibly groaned when Schwarzenegger says that in the film, whereas my dad was just like, "Oh God!" Like he was so happy that he said it, and it was like, okay, all right, I'll just let you enjoy it."
That one's more so like because where I was working when I was working at the comic book shop in New York, there was a guy that just kept yelling, "Get to the chopper!" And I was like, "Oh my God, this movie was made like 30 years ago. Calm the fuck down."
Yeah, for that one super Predator fan.
Yeah, and like he would every once in a while we would have like music playing, and he would play that band. I forget what they're called, but like all they are like they all the vocals are done in like a really shitty Schwarzenegger impression, and it's like all based on Schwarzenegger movies. And there's one song called "Get to the Choppa," and it's like a really like heavy metal band, and like it's just all "Get to the chopper," and it's just terrible.
Jeez, I didn't know that such a thing exists.
Yeah. So that's why I hate the line "Get to the chopper." Like otherwise, I love that they throw in like references to their other movies. Like the I forget the exact wording that they used, but Stallone does a variation of "I Am the Law" in it, and I was like, yes. I love that one. Yeah, "I Am the Hague," which is funny because that's the Scottish ancestry that I have. They're part of the Hague clan, so I was like, oh.
It's the closest we'll probably get to him ever saying "I am the law" again. But I mean, as someone that's a huge Stallone fan and a huge Gibson fan, how did you feel watching those two like beat the shit out of each other?
Like honestly, it's gonna sound cheesy, but it was like surreal. Like I was sitting there and I was like, this is like
boner the whole time.
Well, yeah, it was I can't even. It was so weird because so much of my childhood was the Rocky and Rambo movies, and then so much of my childhood was also Mad Max and Lethal Weapon. And so my favorite scene in any Expendables movie is Mel Gibson on the transport, giving like that just bitch slapping everyone verbally, you know, like
when he's captive.
when he's like handcuffed, and the first time he really does anything in the movie, because before he has like little moments where it's like, oh, he buys art,
yeah,
even when
that's his character thing.
even though that he thinks art is like the art is shitty, he buys it for $3 million, and or like
he drops bombs.
yeah, and then the new Expendables team, or the Deletables, which I thought was a great line. I felt like it was just Mel Gibson. Just from what I've heard, the director and Stallone gave Mel really free reign on the character and the dialogue, which you could tell because he has such like a natural thing. I'm talking about Gibson, a natural way to just be funny in movies. And you know, he's always talked about like the Lethal Weapon movies being some of the hardest stuff he's ever done. And he goes, people may not think that because it's a comedy or it's an action film, but I don't know, try to get that charisma on somebody else, you know, the rig stuff. And so he has that in a weird way here, and we were talking about it. It's almost like this dark old version of the Joker at some points, because you know, he was an expendable. Him and Stallone had this thing, and they, you know, the whole stare off and blah blah blah. But I thought he was also easily, and I know I'm biased towards this, but I'll pull the. Hey Sam, you thought Mel Gibson was the best villain in the Expendables movie, right? Like,
oh yeah, getting that outside.
I'm too biased about this, but I thought he was.
Yeah, I think he's better than the only other contender would be the second film's Jean-Claude Van Damme, because that's one of my big problems with the first film, which I still think is the weakest Expendables film, is it doesn't have a strong villain.
It's got the Eric Roberts from the Mr. Brightside video.
It does, to tie it all back.
Yeah.
Well done. And Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Let that silence reign supreme. No, he's all right. But I mean,
from the other Killers music video.
Yeah. Oh my goddamn! Stone Cold Steve Austin says Killers are the greatest band I've ever seen.
I love him in the Spaceman
Austin
video.
316 says you will go see the Killers live.
I will break Sylvester Stallone's neck in the first Expendables film.
Yeah. Also, the directors of Expendables 2 and 3, I feel, are better directing action scenes than Stallone does.
Stallone directed the first one.
He did, and also the first movie kind of takes itself too seriously.
Yes, I think the second. Yes, the second one definitely realized its strength was in its being self-aware
and just over the top.
Yes, because I mean
much
the
like
beginning
that movie Over the Top,
starring Sylvester Stallone,
Yeah.
which I own.
So bad,
but you don't own Party at Kitty and Studs.
No. That will be the last Stallone film I ever buy, and it'll be sealed forever. But yeah, I mean, I thought
Google it if you've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Actually, don't.
Yeah,
Google
don't
it.
do that. Please. Yeah, I mean,
ask your dad about it.
I thought, don't ask your dad about it. I thought it was a pretty entertaining film, though. I think the second one is still the best. I thought, again, the best performance was
who
Gibson.
can hate on a roundhouse kick that drives a knife into
Thor's brother.
Yeah, into Thor's brothers.
My thing
Liam
is
Hemsworth.
Chris, who has our same birthday, Thor.
Chris Hemsworth has our birthday, just like
And we also found out Emperor Palpatine has our birthday.
Ian McDiarmid.
The character or the actor?
The actor. And
Stardate.
Peter Parker's mother in the Amazing Spider-Man reboot has her same birthday.
Sally Field?
No.
No, mother.
Mother, yeah.
Yeah, that's Aunt May. God.
Yeah, that's
Nerd card.
Embeth Davids from Army of Darkness.
Yes. And then what was the other one I posted that
Hulk Hogan?
No, we knew about Hulk Hogan.
Jim Lee?
We knew about Jim Lee.
Jerry Falwell.
No. Shit. There was somebody that we didn't know, and Terry McGinnis.
Oh, Will Friedle.
Yeah, a.k.a. Eric Matthews from Boy Meets World.
Yeah.
Whoa. Fine. So that was cool.
Yeah, but I feel like the Expendables movies, like as a whole, play themselves too safe too. Like they only.
Well, this is also PG-13. This is the first PG-13
Expendables film to widen the audience, and yet it's the lowest opening weekend gross.
I don't know why. I don't know why they. I mean,
the theater was empty when we saw it.
I knew why they did it because they want to get, like Sam was saying, a wider audience. But they had the audience there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you remember the opening of the Expendables 2, like that is like uber violence in that. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that's like, you know, every movie should be like that, but like that's for the Expendables movies. It was based on that machismo 80s over the top ultra violent stuff. You know?
Yeah, it was kind of like America getting its mojo back after the Vietnam War through action cinema.
Although, if you want to see a guy on a motorcycle jump a ramp in front of a tank and then throw a grenade perfectly into the gun of the tank while the tank explodes, this is the movie for you. Also, same fucking motorcycle, go up a ramp like 5 stories, jump off of it, and then the guy grabs like a pole and like this parkour into this like broken down building and kind of all kinds of craziness. And
if these three words I'm about to utter don't want to get you to see the film, then you probably don't want to see the film. Parkour, Antonio Banderas.
Yeah. Yep. Those 3 words were specifically designed to get your anuses in the air. As Sam is wont to do.
I never actually dedicated any songs to that on Friday, or I never declared any songs because I didn't do any dance numbers on Friday. Jeez, damn.
Missed opportunity. A real missed opportunity.
I love the concept that like
the song is specifically engineered to raise your anuses to the heavens, and then the DJ looked at me and just gave me the most disapproving shake of the head, and I was just like,
you heard me.
Yeah.
Press play, DJ.
But no, you know, but when I say it plays too safe, is the only expendable to die in any Expendables film, and in a film where it's like every single film is supposedly the big suicide mission, is Liam Hemsworth, a character that was created specifically to die.
Yeah, exactly.
He was
the Agent Coulson of Expendables 2.
Yeah, he comes back as
he's got his own show coming out.
Really shitty show that barely gets.
Oh, don't say that to Josh.
But the how's that going to translate when that gets posted online?
I don't know.
Anyway, so
I mean,
yeah.
to be fair, I enjoyed the latter half of the first season too, but
yeah, it picks up after Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But the you know, I feel like Dolph Lundgren is straight up shot in the first movie, and at the very end they're like, welcome back to the team. It's a good thing you survived that like gunshot wound, even though
mortal wound of yours.
Yeah, that you said you were dying from. Or, oh, look, Terry Crews is back, you know, now that he served his purpose as catalyst for breaking apart the band and forming a new one, but then we formed 2 bands to make a super band. I'm glad you're still alive.
What'd you think of Wesley Snipes? Because when they introduced him in the beginning, I was like, oh, he's going to be like, you know, and then they forget about him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck was he doing? Like, you know, I'm like just realizing this now.
They do address it. They're like, he's like, you broke me out of jail, and now you're going to leave me? And he's like, you'll live.
Yeah, I know, but like when they, of course, you know,
By the way, I like the fact that he spent the time between when Terry Crews got shot and when they went to like visit him in the hospital to get all dolled up.
Yeah,
because like he
does say as soon as he gets home he's going to put on his fancy clothes.
I'm just saying. He's been locked up for what, like almost 10 years.
8 years.
And I said almost 8. I said almost 10 years. So yeah, it's 8. Yeah.
Clarification.
But yeah, so he's been locked up for like almost 10 years. And
8 years.
And he's like dolled up in contemporary fashion. You know, like like that means that he had to go shopping. You know?
Where's that part of the movie? That's
right.
Yeah.
Like
I'm walking on sunshine, and
fuck this guy. Fuck this guy that got shot. You know, helping me out on this mission that I was just on. I need to get some threads.
How terrifying would it be to just like the way you go out is Wesley Snipes saying with a big grin on his face, "Jing-a-ling" before he stabs you to death, because he totally does that during the movie.
Yeah, well, they just give him like so much dialogue in the beginning of the movie, and then he just kind of has some like action stuff. Also, huge fucking misstep on this. Like Jet Li's in it again, and doesn't do any martial arts.
Yeah.
All he does is shoot a gun.
I think you pointed out that what Schwarzenegger does.
Schwarzenegger does more melee than Jet Li does.
He throws a human being into a wall. Also, it's implied that him and Jet Li are lovers.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. And when Stallone calls him out on it, he's just like, "You're jealous."
It was quite beautiful, I must say.
I know you've been shipping Jet Li and Arnold Schwarzenegger for years.
Finally! Vindication!
But also, I think the most egregious use of music in an Expendables movie might be in the Expendables 3. Like,
yeah.
Do we remember what that song was?
It's like "Come With Me Now" by
by Congo.
Is Congos? Yeah,
Yeah, and like it's got a nice driving, bass line to it and shit like that. And like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting amped up for something, and it's just like all it is Stallone riding an escalator.
Yeah,
and
smoking a cigar.
Smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
And then right as like some action starts, the music cuts out and it goes to just dialogue, and I'm like,
with Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer's money, man.
Kelsey Grammer was great, but it was just a waste of that song.
Yeah, not quite like parkour or Antonio Banderas, but he's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
I when they first pull up into like Arizona, I was like, oh shit, he's gonna recruit Rambo.
Yeah,
because that's where he ends up at the end of the last Rambo movie.
They're saying, I mean, this is all rumors and shit, but they're saying his next movie he's working on is Rambo 5.
Wow. Is it going to be like the Predator knockoff that it was originally rumored to be?
When they were working on the next one, I heard everything from finding out he had a daughter, drug cartels, having to get her back, to sci-fi crossover, to I don't know, everything in between. Again, it's probably all bullshit, but I'd still be first in line to see Rambo 5.
I hope it's aliens.
He's supposed to be in technically a 7th Rocky movie, though it's not centered on Rocky.
Yeah.
It's supposed to center on Apollo Creed's. How is Carl Weathers not in an Expendables movie yet?
Right?
I don't know. Did they sour their relationship, though, with
Rocky Balboa?
He wanted to come back, and Stallone's like, yeah, but you're dead. And then so he wouldn't let him use. If you watch the movie again, you won't see Carl Weathers at all in that movie.
Not even the archive footage.
He wouldn't allow it. So I don't know if that was also how great. Speaking of, Stallone has said that like him and Willis's friendship isn't like damaged. How great is the line though, where Harrison Ford said he's out of the picture?
Yeah,
like that was good. That was good stuff.
I had a little tee-hee moment to myself.
Yeah, that was good. No, I think you had I think you tee-heed out loud.
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
And Jet Li says like I thought Church was Bruce Willis's character. I thought Church was an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because for you guys who don't know the backstory of Expendables 3, because you don't study this shit backwards and forwards like we apparently do,
nerds,
or follow Stallone's Twitter like I do.
Yeah. Does he still plug his protein pudding?
That's not a thing anymore.
Oh,
you can't get it. So no. So, I mean, I hope not, because I think you can't get it anywhere.
That's if I ever meet Stallone, I want to, and I know enough in advance. I want to order his protein pudding from like eBay and just be like, dude, let's have some pudding. And then he'd be like, hey.
Wait, real quick. Remember your original plan was Stallone was in New York Comic Con, and when we found out, we were like freaking out, but then we found out it was like $400 to meet him. But we had this like daydream.
I came up with this master plan because I knew he was casting younger actors for Expendables 3.
That Sam was going to be like in Artist Alley or somewhere on the floor of New York Comic Con, and he was going to hear from across the room, hey, yo, Sam. And he turns around, and it's Sylvester Stallone. And for no reason, he already knows Sam's name. He's like, do you want to be in Expendables 3? And then Sam's like, yeah. And he's like, all right, cool. But that didn't happen.
Meet me in Bulgaria. Because that's where they filmed the entire fucking movie.
Hey, you get on a plane, meet me in Bulgaria. And this turtle food's got more moss than flies in it, and more flies than moths.
I don't even think you know what you're saying.
Oh no! For some reason, whenever I do a Stallone impression, it always goes to that scene in Rocky where he's like looking in front of the mirror, and he's trying to, which I don't know if a lot of people get, that he's rehearsing a joke that he's going to tell to Adrian later in the movie.
Yeah.
And he screws it up, and he gets really pissed off at himself. But then he tells her the joke later, and it works gangbusters. But that for some reason, whenever I do that Stallone impression, it always cuts back to that scene in the first Rocky.
Yeah, but to go back to the Bruce Willis anecdote.
Yes.
Yeah, from 10 minutes ago.
They offered Bruce Willis $3 million for 4 days worth of shooting for the Expendables 3, and he's like, I want 4, basically equating to I want $1 million a day. You don't film all day when you're, especially in like a big budget thing. You like maybe for a couple hours you do some pickup shots, some close ups, some reaction shots. Especially considering
his role's pretty small.
Yeah, I mean all he does in the finished film, or what his character would have done, is pilot a helicopter.
I don't know. I mean, Harrison Ford's a helicopter pilot, so that probably was put in there for Stallone.
So it might have just been like a ground assault.
Either that, or who knows? Maybe he would have told him all the stuff, and that's it. Like in the other ones, or the first one at least.
Yeah. So
where they meet in a church.
Yeah, that's why. So basically, Stallone. I mean, you remember what the tweet was, right? Because he
it's something about like greedy and lazy.
doesn't get your head in this business.
Yeah, greedy and lazy. So
Yeah,
it was like in all caps too, I think, or something. I don't know.
and that didn't damage his relationship.
And then like the next, well, he said like he's still a good guy. He makes great movies. Because they had like a really strong relationship. Whenever they were on like Letterman, they do like Letterman together.
They
it was always
co-founded Planet Hollywood.
Yeah, it was always like hilarious when they were together. But and then like the next day he was like, or one of the tweets was like, Willis out, Ford in. Like been waiting forever for this. Like
damn, like he knew.
like some I thought Harrison Ford was pretty good. He was pretty funny.
No, I loved it.
Getting him to
playing a CIA agent again.
Hearing, nice callback to like Patriot games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like hearing him say, drummer in the house. I feel
Drummer
like,
in the house.
You get like,
And then the one F-bomb is him.
yeah. You're only allowed one fuck in a
PG-13
as long as it's not in a sexual context. And he's just like, you fucked up and I'm wearing it. Yeah. Well,
he gives a pretty good, for lack of a better word, ass chewing in that one. Like to Stallone's face. It's pretty good stuff. But yeah, so I would say it's probably the second best Expendables movie.
Would you concur?
Behind 2.
Would you concur, Chris?
Yeah.
Fair enough. So, what have we learned? Gang, from this wide, crazy week of crazy shit? Oh, you and me also saw fucking Godzilla riff tracks live, didn't we?
We did that same night.
Yeah, right before. In fact,
It
still sucks, but the riff tracks is hilarious.
So it's to clarify for anyone, it was Godzilla '98, the Superior,
The Matthew Broderick film.
Yeah. The Mystery Science Theater 3000 guys gave it the old heave ho with jokes, and it was glorious.
Yeah, just really, that was probably I hadn't seen that film since I was a kid. So it was kind of, I got, that little nostalgia blast, but I also, even as a kid, I was not a fan of Godzilla.
I have some weird love for the movie. Like, I totally understand, like, it's a bad movie. The monster changes proportion constantly. It's kind of like just a bad story in general, but
Matthew Broderick's the lead.
That is not a deal breaker.
Okay. Am I the only person
in an action movie?
Yeah.
When's he going to be in the Expendables?
At this rate, I mean, they got Kelsey Grammer, right? He
Right?
isn't exactly known for...
Hey,
like,
Kelsey Grammer with a beard is a badass motherfucker.
He could. Matthew Broderick could totally play like a bookworm at the CIA or something like that,
That's secretly the villain.
Yeah.
I hear they want Pierce Brosnan and Hulk Hogan for 4, provided they get enough box office to do it.
That'd be fun.
What if Pierce Brosnan was the bad guy?
He'd be a good bad guy.
Yeah, I'd like that. But
bring back Mel Gibson. Oh, remember we had the joke that like I was so bummed spoilers, but Mel Gibson dies.
What? The bad guy dies?
And like the building collapses, and I was hoping they're gonna have this really weird like 80s throwback moment where like you see his hand come out of the rubble, and he's like mechanized Mel Gibson,
Mecha Gibson.
Mecha Gibson.
It would have been great. It would have been a nice, throwback to like turtles.
Give me back
and stuff
my son.
That. Yeah.
Still like eating dog biscuits.
He eats dog biscuits in Lethal Weapon, then he eats dog food in Road Warrior.
Right? Yeah. Which we also recently saw.
Fuckers. They watched it without me.
I wanted to see in like Flint, but nobody wants to see in like Flint.
Nope. It looked funny, but I really had a hankering to see Road Warrior
after Expendables 3. Yeah, sure. But I mean, it was an eventful week. Started out with obviously a bit of a somber. Started out on a somber note, but it crescendoed into a action movie high, and then into a drunken mess by the end of it.
Pretty much.
Somewhere in the middle. I did want to touch on this since we had devoted almost the entire episode, if not last week, then like 2 weeks ago. To how I don't like Grant Morrison. I wanted to give everyone an update. I no longer feel as militant, I guess, towards him. I'm actually a fan because the lovely Sam Stone here let me borrow a couple of the Batman trades from when he was writing it, and I gotta say. One of my biggest problems with Grant Morrison boiled down to the fact that I thought that Batman of Zurin R in Batman R.I.P. was kind of a Deus Ex Machina and a rather silly one at that. And then I'm reading Batman Son of the Bat, which is the first thing that he did.
First issue.
Yeah. Hold on, I have the number here. It's Batman number 655. This is the first issue of Batman and Son, and I believe it's 3 pages into the story. There is graffiti all around Gotham saying Zur-En-Arr.
Pretty prominently, yeah.
Yeah, quite like very obvious. And I was like, oh, like I stopped reading. I stopped reading 3 pages into the story and just put it down and started texting Sam. And I was like, I take back everything I said about Grant Morrison.
Well, you also really enjoyed his first Batman work period, which was Arkham Asylum.
Right, yeah, I did read that first, but I was gonna wait to finish this whole story because it's all one big thing.
Of course.
Like
his Batman run.
Yeah. But yeah, so he writes that in issue 655. And then Batman of Zur-En-Arr as a character comes out in issue 678. Now, I did the math.
Yeah.
And that's 23 issues.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, Batman is a monthly comic book, and I believe during his run it did not change. So that means it was 1 issue shy of 2 years exactly. So not only is that not only is that like foreshadowing, but that's the most foreshadowing I think I've ever seen personally.
You mentioned that you mentioned there was more Zur-En-Arr graffiti a little later in his arc too.
Yeah, it pops up every once in a while. So it shows that it's kind of like a recurring thing that he wants you to know, and then like a couple issues or like halfway through, like they kind of show the flashback with Thomas and Martha Wayne getting shot, and like they start like teasing the Zorro in Arkham, which is like, according to Grant Morrison, is what Zur-En-Arr is. You know, like it shortens. While Thomas Wayne is dying, he like kind of gurgles out Zorro in Arkham, but it just kind of comes out Zur-En-Arr.
Because the last film, one of the last things he tells Bruce is they'd put someone like Zorro.
Yeah, it's a shame that they would put someone like Zorro in Arkham.
And that was the movie that they were watching the night that they got shot.
Yeah.
Speaking of foreshadowing stuff as well, with Animal Man, he does the same thing where there'll be a panel that seems like complete nonsense. Mm-hmm. And then when you get to like the second to last issue, it all comes back together.
Yeah.
You read all of his Animal Man recently too.
Yeah, while I was waiting for you to pass me that, I was like, okay, I'll check out Animal Man because Jake said that it would be pretty cool, so I started reading that, and I really enjoyed it. So that made me a little bit more receptive to Grant Morrison.
That and Arkham Asylum and all that jazz.
Yes, Arkham Asylum, the comic book that loosely inspired the video game.
Yeah.
I started playing that again, actually, yesterday.
No one cares, Jake.
I do.
This is about me.
My time.
This was our time. Down here. Up there, it's their time. Go watch The Goonies.
You also, what's next? Final Crisis and Doom Patrol?
Yeah. And then sometime after that, The Invisibles. Maybe after I start taking hallucinogenics.
Yeah, and then... Have you started The Invisibles yet, Jake?
No, I'm reading Doom Patrol, and reading Arkham Asylum as well.
Great book.
And
Heath Ledger could not finish that book while he was preparing for the Joker.
Really?
That was among the copies of they gave him like The Killing Joke and Arkham Asylum and I think The Man Who Laughs, and he couldn't get through Arkham Asylum.
But yeah, so Doom Patrol is pretty wild. Like everything I've ever read about that being weird and wonderful and astounding, only in the first trade, and it's like all true. It's so wild. But
Doom Patrol is like the DC Misfit superhero team.
Yeah, no, I mean it is.
I always loved it. Yeah.
Negative Man being like one of the most confusingly wonderful characters I've ever read, and the Scissor Men being like the greatest. Kind of like stormtrooper, masked villains running around all over the place, speaking complete nonsense. But at the same time, it's almost like wonderful poetry. So yeah, I'm right on there with the Grant Morrison train, just reading as much as I can. And I had finished Animal Man 2. I had bought the big, complete omnibus for my birthday.
It's like 26 issues.
Yeah, I think it's 20. His run was 26, and there was one issue of like a secret kind of origin thing they did.
Secret Files and Origins, yeah.
Those damn things.
Retelling kind of his story. So technically 27, I guess. But I gave it like a couple days to let it sink in because I didn't want to sound like the honeymoon phase. But like just for me, enjoyable runs, and it wasn't like, years and years and years like on his Batman run or other things. So it's not a longevity thing. But for me, in terms of just, creativity, being original, dealing with the fourth wall, a lot of meta stuff going on, and to a character that, when I was younger, I didn't know anything about Animal Man. Completely, it changed the way I look at comic books, and I love talking to people at the comic shop about that book, just telling them just a little snippet of one story or something, and seeing them like their eyes light up, like, what? You do that in comic books? Or that sounds amazing, And so, that's up there with Danny O'Neill's Question stuff for me as like top comic book runs that I've ever read. So
certainly a winner. But yeah, so this has been a pretty
all over the place. It's fitting to end it with Grant Morrison because they're just like all over the place. They're all rapping
and
together.
It all comes back.
It all comes back to.
You can't put a lid on your life. Don't put a lid on your Slurpee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this has been another installment of Catching Up with Chris, Jake, and Sam. I feel like we've pretty well caught up on all bases just about. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
I'm Jake.
And hopefully next week will be just as eventful and fun-filled as this one.
Hopefully not as down, though.
Yeah.
Certainly not, yeah.
So.
And of course we don't get another birthday.
Well, I need a year.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, not this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, and see you guys later.
Good night, Eric Bana.
Thank you very much.